And for many of the dialoguers, it will continue for a while until they push to the edge of fear. That often happens. We call this the dawning of the age of the art of cosmic dialogue by the artist of consciousness. I'm a member of the board of directors of the New York New Observations Art and Culture magazine. And we're bringing out the artists, the famous artists. New Observations was created by Lucio Pozzi 33 years ago to propagate art, culture, ecology, but also the deeper worlds. Now a lot of artists are coming out of the woodwork. Art is an interface for this subject. So in this concept, the environment is the canvas. The artist is consciousness. The protocols that are utilized with clear, coherent intent, coherent cardio rhythms are the brush strokes. This interfaces with other consciousness that emerges in the canvas, which is the environment, and which is measurable as well. So we train the units who all want to see the UFO intelligences and don't want to pay attention to the details. Look at the directions. There's going to be 2 time trackers who are going to say what time it is. And if it's too spectacular, the event, then we estimate, as soon as we've got a bit of time, we say between this time and that time, let's say 10 minutes. So you've got a rough estimation. One of the most important tools is the satellite trackers. Whilst it's true that when you have something moving in the sky, this can instigate for some people other phenomenon, we're being more down to earth. So we are specifically pre-checking satellites and using different satellite measuring systems and applications. That's vitally important. When you have a moving light in the sky, however, maybe at a high magnitude satellite level, one utilizes the protocol, focuses, and see if it responds. And we have had quite clear responses. We also receive tons of information. And then 7 years in, we took that information and we also kind of rebelled, say, wait a minute, we want to question everything, absolutely everything. What is going on here? Because some of the information was too much. And so I went into my researcher phase, which is what gave birth to the semantic artist. The semantic artist has a canvas, which would be the multimedia, has sentences as brush strokes with various concepts that build a montage, that build the final painting. That's how we work through many, many, many different fields and subjects. With dialogues with the cosmos, we have one semantic art palette to play with. So the work has been taking place in the high Alps of Switzerland, Austria, Italy, Mount Etna, and Norway in earlier times. Many different types of witnesses are present. You have lieutenants, you have physicists, you have aeronautical engineers, but you also have artists, you have New Agers, you have all kinds of different broad spectrum people. We try to do this non-dogmatically. We're not interested in the UFO sect or cult aspect. It's a big problem in the UFO field. But we try to engage the ultimate intent of coherence in interfacing with the unidentified aerial phenomena intelligence and to gather data, signal intelligence. And we gather wide varieties of signal intelligence. So a way to look at this for us is a new creative faculty is awakening in mankind, some human beings. This may take thousands of years, but it will become a regular reflex for some to go out in the mountains or out in nature, look at the stars, and engage the creativity of the UFO encounter. Certainly, the most creative brain states and heart states, according to the research and studies of the Heart Math Institute, is a cycle of about 8 cycles per second, which is also the frequency detected by the Hessdalen Research Association in Norway analyzing the UFOs that manifest there, with 5 different countries having their scientists research it over time. Professor Erling Strand told me that a cycle of about 8 cycles per second appears before the UFO is recorded and is measured. This is the maximum creativity in the artist, in the poet, in the one doing Tai Chi. So, environment is the canvas, the artists are consciousness, and Earthside plus the other UFO are part of the interactive art, a creative new faculty. We're allowed to do that. Art is eccentric at times. The ultra-terrestrial hypothesis is not our hypothesis. We think it has elegant aspects, but much more is going on. I can't get into that now, but perhaps with Jan we will go into what we think is going on. With the idea of ultra-terrestrial, you have many different forms of possibilities. This includes the interdimensional hypothesis of Jacques Vallée. It also includes other realities, dimensions, parallel universes that coexist. And it also may include the time-traveling elements. So our great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren time-traveling back. Ultra-terrestrial is not enough. The reality rethinking that occurs through the UFO experience and many other fields. We had the fake news of UFO. We have the fake news of politics. We've done a series called Macro Revelations for a Fake Reality, where we examine every field and every assumption, certain histories, certain books, things that we take as God-given, and look to ask the question, is this real? Where's the fakeness? And we show the fakeness. You have it in astronomy. You have it in physics. True objectivity has never been gained in the old physics, like quantum mechanics, as we mentioned earlier today. So the idea of the ultra-terrestrial widens the extraterrestrial hypothesis a bit. The simulation theories that are now emerging, reality is a computer simulation, and we're starting to simulate molecules. We'll move to cells in our computational work, and eventually, 500 years, 1,000 years, we can start to simulate whole human beings, whole environments, whole planets. And in a whole planet with human beings, 20% can be simulators that can be simulating their simulated world. And if you take that forwards 500,000, 5,000 years, at some point, reality and the simulation are going to be indivisible. And based on those ideas and projections from past computational exponential increase by Moore's law and more, to the future, it's likely that our great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren are going to be simulating reality, and maybe this is even interfacing with that simulation.
10, 9,